Hello everyone, and welcome to my Duel Today official news channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Is Everett employed by Clyde? These are the hints. According to spoilers for Days of Our Lives, there were multiple attacks in Salem on Friday. Someone lit a fire in the Horton house. Kate Brady, Lauren Koslow, and Lucas Horton were attacked, and Harris Michaels was shot. Unexpectedly, though, one person who ought to have been on that list was left off. Why didn't Everett Lynch get attacked? There's a problem with Everett Lynch. Days in Our Lives, it's clear from spoilers that Everett is not acting right. Although Everett is undoubtedly Jada Hunter's ex-husband, Bobby was his name back then. Supposedly, Everett was in a coma rather than stalking Stephanie Johnson, Abigail Klein. Still, there's no evidence to support anything Everett says happened. Although Stephanie had decided to believe Everett's explanation, she may decide not to after learning that he was seeing someone else while he was still married. Was Everett alone with his wife, or was he ever in a coma? Is Everett merely leading Stephanie on until the next woman comes along, or can she really trust him to follow through on his promises now? Lynch, Everett went to Clyde Weston. Everett went with Chad DiMera when he visited Clyde Weston. However, Everett is oddly omitted for some reason, even though Harris, Lucas, and the Horton house were attacked. What makes someone pursue Chad but not the magazine's editor? This is just nonsensical. Is there a reason Clyde chose not to pursue Everett? Could it be that Everett was collaborating with Clyde and didn't feel the need to pursue him? After all, someone needs to be in charge of things from the outside. Clyde was terribly upset by commands that came from the outside. Could Everett have been that person? Everett frequently presents himself as if he's high. There are strange phases that Everett goes through, like his migraines and craving protein bars, etc. Everett is dealing with some kind of difficulty, and it's possible that his drug use is contributing to it. Another possibility is that Everett is a drug dealer who is also distributing drugs in Salem. If the accomplice of Everett's side? If Everett's account is accurate, then it's possible that his drug use contributed to the vehicle accident that rendered him unconscious. Was Everett using drugs back then without Stephanie knowing about it? Had Everett truly moved to Salem to assist Clyde with this drug operation rather than visiting the town in search of Stephanie? Teresa is enraged that Officer Goldman kidnapped her and made no proposal. According to Friday, February 16th Days of Our Lives spoilers, Officer Goldman had her badge and firearm back, which is why Rafe Hernandez was happy to see her back on duty after the investigation. When Jada Hunter and Rafe were alone, she acknowledged that she didn't know much about Officer Goldman's personal life and expressed her wish to be with someone on Valentine's Day. Rafe loved the antique sheriff's badge that Jada had given him, so much so that he gave her a feminist quotation bracelet. Rafe and Jada acknowledged they were still planning to go on a double date with Stephanie Johnson and Everett Lynch later, but they had to return to work. Rafe added that he had already met Everett through his employment at The Spectator and that Everett seemed like a really kind guy. Although Bobby, Jada's ex-husband, was a reporter as well, she didn't think he was cool. On Friday's episode of Days, Stephanie took pictures of Salemites taking part in a geocaching event in the town square and gushed to Tripp Johnson, Lucas Adams, and Wendy Shin, Victoria Grace, about the amount of money generated for the hospital. Tripp reassured Wendy that the box she found in the park wasn't a ring when she expressed anxiety. Since Tripp got Wendy the identical earrings she had admired at the store, Wendy was happy with her gift from him. Tripp really liked the ornate cufflinks Wendy had given him, so they shared a kiss to commemorate their gifts and affection. Officer Goldman, meanwhile, waited in the shadows before coming clean to Wendy and Tripp. Officer Goldman stated there was intelligence indicating Tripp and Wendy were in danger after she asserted Rafe had her keeping an eye on them. Officer Goldman pretended as though Rafe might have details later, but Tripp questioned whether this had anything to do with Ava Vitale and what had happened to Harris Michaels. Under the pretense of bringing Tripp and Wendy somewhere secure, Officer Goldman whisked them off, but it was evident from the music and atmosphere of the situation that she was a dubious police officer employed by Clyde Weston, James Reed. On Friday's episode of Days, Sloan Peterson Brady appeared irritated at home while Eric Brady spoiled Jude Brady in his stroller. Eric got Sloan a necklace and a teddy bear for Jude, but she was not happy when she saw that the necklace had a pendant with Jude's name on it. It was clear that Sloane objected to Eric making the infant the center of attention. Eric was excited to go because Jude would be going to bed shortly, but Sloane offered him some red underwear that she intended to wear later as a Valentine's Day present. Leo Stark's constant pestering at work made Everett realize he would have to spend Valentine's Day alone, thus he ended up joining the scavenger quest. This placed Leo in the town square concurrently with Eric and Sloane, who, in spite of Sloane's objections, summoned Leo over. As usual, Leo got under Sloane's skin, but Eric assured her the man was not dangerous. Eric was going to put Jude to bed when he and Sloane got home, while Sloane changed into the red pajama from earlier. When Sloane put it on, she discovered Eric had dozed out, which saddened her. After calling to let them know she was alone tonight, Sloane arranged to meet someone at small bar, most likely Melinda Trask. Stephanie went to the pub with Rafe and Jada after calling Everett to confirm he would be going there shortly. Their encounter was delayed a little longer since Everett finally showed up just as Jada was leaving for the bathroom. Jada was astonished to see the man she recognized as her ex-husband when she finally made it back to the table. Jada gasped and addressed Everett by the name she knew, indicating that she genuinely believed he was Bobby. Jada's shocked response seemed to confuse and annoy Everett. He took his time getting ready at Teresa Donovan and Alex Kiriaki's apartment on Friday's DOL program as the anticipation building for Teresa's proposal. Teresa believed that this would be a historic occasion, and she raised a glass to a memorable evening with Alex as they took a seat at the bistro. Teresa was tense as the evening wore on without Alex posing the question. Alex asked the waiter for the check, figuring there was only one more thing to do. Teresa believed Alex was going to go into his jacket pocket for the ring box, instead he took out cash. Teresa eventually blurted out that Alex should just do it as a result, and she answered yes. Teresa told a perplexed Alex on Friday's episode of Days that she had located the engagement ring box, but he gently corrected her. Teresa became agitated and created a scene before walking off, even though Alex apologized and wanted to smooth things out. Stay tuned for more on Alex and Teresa's romance as revealed by spoilers from Days of Our Lives. It looks like they will need to figure out how to work things out. Brady arrives at the DiMera front door with balloons, flowers for Rachel, a chocolate box, and a plush bear. Kristen opens the door for Brady. The young child rushes to see her father. She gives her big bear a joyful hug before rushing off to finish crafting Brady a card. Thanks to Kristen, Brady was able to see Rachel today. Kristen is aware that Rachel has been his unique Valentine for eternity. She was jealous. Not because of Rachel specifically, but rather because it's a day to honor romance, something she has been missing lately. She hopes she doesn't expect it from him, but Brady deadpans that there are a lot of reasons for that. He is not going to send balloons or bears ever again. In the questioning room, Sarah goes to see Xander, who is shackled to a chair. He makes a lifelong vow to Victoria that he did not shoot Harris. "You must have faith in me." Sarah withdraws her hand from his. Xander is sad because he believes he has been granted more opportunities than he deserves. Without him, Sarah and Victoria are probably in a better place. Everett and Stephanie enter the Spectator newsroom with anxiety. Stephanie jumps to Chad's arms as soon as she sees him. "I'm so glad you're okay." Everett narrows his eyes thoughtfully. Chad tells them about Doug, Julie, and the kids and thanks them for their support. Stephanie gets called to handle a permit issue for the geocaching event after telling him everything she purchased the kids. Everett asks Chad, by himself, what's truly going on. Chad acknowledges that he believes it was arson and that they were being targeted for death.